Heart-centered marketing. Oh man, it is December 12th, 2023. Welcome to the show. I'm so glad that you are here. I am so glad that we are just going strong with this. It's been received very, very well. We've got a lot of great people that attend these sessions for yourself that I'm talking about. So thank you for being here. Thank you for being live. If you are here live, by the way, let me know or let us know with the hashtag live in the chat. Let us know. And this is a conversation. So if you do have feedback, if you have questions, anything like that, we would love to hear from you. And what I'm talking about, I'm talking about me and my buddy Eddie Sand in the house. Dude, this is so amazing to see you here. Thank you for being here.
Oh, thanks, man. I'm always excited to talk with you and have these conversations. So thank you. Thank you for bringing me back.
Yeah, this is going to be an epic conversation as always because you and I have always great conversations. And you know the one thing that I don't know if we've talked about this before or mentioned this live, but in our discussions off camera, we sometimes get into like epic conversations, and it's always at the end
Yeah.
where it's like, oh my god, that makes so much sense. That's so cool, and I
Yeah.
walk away with a breakthrough. So, and that's been
Yeah.
happening for years since we've known each other. It's been,
I know.
gosh, what,
How many? Like
six,
five, six, five, six?
five
Yeah.
or six? Is it?
Dude,
Is it longer?
it was
Yeah,
before
it's around there.
COVID.
It was 2018,
So
right? It was a 2018 or 2017.
2018, 18,
So
19. I don't know.
it
Dude,
was
it
17 or
was
it
that
was
long.
17 or 18 for sure, right? So if it was even if it
Yes.
was
Yes.
18, dude, that's
Yes.
like 6 years. That's coming into 6 years. Like it's
Wow.
unreal, man. So
I feel like we haven't spent enough time.
it's crazy. It's
Hey,
crazy.
Lorna.
Good
Hey,
to see
good
you,
to
Lorna.
see
Thank you for
you.
being here. Thank you for being here live. And thank you everyone else for being here. Let us know hashtag live or hashtag replay. And if I don't know who this is, the Facebook user, I'd love to give you props. But if you are in my group, you can give us permission or give Ecamm permission to let us know your name so we can at least give you props. Actually, you know what I'm going to do is here's the Facebook group just in case you want to join us in there. Okay, what are we going to talk about today?
So yeah. Joey, tell me. So you kind of send me a message, right? And I'm like, about this? And you're like, yeah. So what's up?
What's up?
this is this is like so impromptu because you just sent me that message. I'm like, okay, let's
You
talk
know,
about it.
it's like here's my iPad. I don't know if you can see this, but I'm like messing around with a whole new framework here, and
Nice.
I don't know what I'm going to call it. Like right now, it's just a brainstorm called the decision graph. You know, I'm brilliant at making names. Like go figure. No, I'm just kidding. Uh, and the reason is like I've been really obsessed with decision fatigue in the last little while. And I'm noticing it
Hmm.
more and more. And I guess it's like the reticular activator, right? The more you focus on something, the more you start seeing a lot of whatever it is that you're focused on. And um,
Hmm.
and so then I started putting it together because actually, decision fatigue. Let's first define what that means, as much
Yeah.
as I know what it is, and that is where you get tired making decisions. And this happens to every human in the world. You only wake up with so much brain power, right? And the
I got my
more
two hands
decisions you
up.
have, right? The more decisions you have every single day, uh, the faster you get tired. And so this is the reason why I'm a simplifier because I don't like making decisions. That's one of the reasons why when I go to a restaurant, it's like I'm gonna order pretty much the same dang thing all the time. Like I just don't like making decisions, and that's why I love Costco. There's only two types of soap. Which one am I gonna buy? Right? They've already made the decision for you. I don't know if you know that, but
No, no,
but
I
Costco
don't.
does their research, and you're like, that's why you don't have a lot of
Really?
decisions or choices. Like, why am I only got
Really?
these two things, two brands? Right? That's it.
Wow.
So yeah, decision fatigue is a real thing, and so one of them, the very famous one is, two famous ones is like Steve Jobs wearing the same turtleneck, the black turtleneck sweater, and Einstein with all the gray suits, because they don't want to put brain power into what should I
Mm.
wear today. They'd rather put their brain power into something more impactful. And once I
Mhm.
learned that, I used to call it the Einstein theory. I guess I still call it the Einstein theory or method. Way, many, many years ago. And I thought,
Mm.
I'm going to go do that too because I used to feel that waking up every day. Like, "Ugh, what am I going to wear?" And I'd be wasting
Yes.
time. And so that's one of the
Yes.
reasons why I stepped into I'm wearing the same dang thing every
Yeah.
single day. And that was just the beginning of it. But I'll stop there and let you interject here and then let's carry on this
No.
conversation.
Yeah.
What do you
Yeah.
think?
Yeah. I think so. Okay. So I agree with the clothes. By the way, same thing. I do the same thing. So it's the same gray or black V necks. That's all you see in my closet, gray or black. There's nothing else.
I love
And
it.
the same. There's only two jackets, a gray one and a blue one. That's it. And there's only three pairs of pants, a dark one, and then khaki ones, light and khaki. That's it. That's those are my choices. And of course, my wife Misty, she's always like, "Why don't you wear something else?" I'm like, "I don't have anything else. Like, why would I? This is easy for me." So I'm here. I hear you with that, with the clothing, and that made my days. I just pick up and go. So that's nothing. But
Right.
going
So,
back to this decision fatigue, I wanted to ask you this: is this like overthinking something? Would that be
yeah.
considered yeah, it is.
Yeah, because
Okay.
and this is kind of where I was going with it for my clients because I have seen it's not that I'm just realizing it. It's been sitting in
Mhm.
front of me all this time. All these years I've been
Mhm.
doing Atlas. Everybody
Mhm.
comes to me for I don't know who my avatar is or the dream client. Like I don't know the choices and I'm talking niching down and this is what my genius is. Like okay, let's get you focused. Let's get you one lane, eliminate all these other things. And really what I'm helping them do is stop the decision fatigue. I just had a conversation just before this call chat and so many different choices. I don't know where to go. This is where I'm leading. This is, and I get it. I totally get it because our hearts are in all these places that we want to help all of these things, and that. And I'd love to know your thought and everybody else listening to this. What your thoughts are on this. I'm thinking, and by the way, I'm brainstorming live with everyone here and you, Eddie. I
Yeah.
haven't even. I'm just beginning to think about this and flush it out, but I think that that's a huge decision fatigue of why people don't go forward in the business of
Mm.
what program am I going to decide on? What am I going to do? And it stems from this decision fatigue because let's say you've got four different audiences, people that you want to help, and you're like, I don't know which one, and
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
so the more you have that decision to make, the harder it gets, and you just
Yeah.
stop. You just don't do anything. So what I'm trying to
Yeah.
do is create this decision graph to
Mm.
say, here's how you can make this decision a lot easier.
Mm.
So,
Yeah.
any
So
thoughts on
I
that?
yeah, I think okay. So in my experience, I will say that I have been in decision fatigue. As you know, you and I have had this conversation already. Like the past 3 or 4 weeks, it's been really a lot of decisions that I have to make, and this also includes in my personal life as well. So it's not just me attempting to what's the program, what's the business, what's the next project, but it's also I got to take care of my family, I got to take care of my daughter, I have to make decisions for her too, and so I would tell you that I did experience a lot of fatigue,
Mm-hmm.
and two instances, um, because what you're saying is that it basically fits with what I did. One major decision I made was made rushed. I rushed to make the decision, and it didn't. The result could have been better,
Okay.
so I learned. Okay, lesson learned. But I really felt rushed. I was basically overwhelmed with what to do, what not to do, and I just said, "Forget it. Let me just get this done." And I think I should have, stepped back a little bit and done it better.
Yeah.
But
Okay. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
but
I want because
but
I want
there's
to I
another.
want to tap into that too. But go ahead.
Okay, cool. Because now there was another one, another decision that I made no decision.
Hmm.
You know, like I just basically said, that's it. I'm okay. The decision is I'm not making a decision. I'm done. You know, so you see what I'm saying? I've experienced that already, and I want you to tell me. So give me some feedback on that because yeah, especially with that decision that I made, I rushed to do it. I just basically jumped into it. And if you want details, I can give them to you. But
Well, you can
is
share as
this
much as
does
you
this
want.
fit?
No, it does. I think that this is where I can see that where when we rush into a decision and we make it and it's a wrong choice or it didn't
Mhm,
come out the way that we planned or wanted it to,
mhm.
that's when we do step back. And I'm not saying you know jump every single time and build the parachute on the way down. Sometimes you gotta you gotta step back and analyze. Okay,
Yeah,
what's gonna happen here, right?
yeah,
However,
yeah.
if you make a quick decision and that holds you back, that's where decision fatigue will begin to increase in the future, because
Mm.
I'm not saying when I say you, I mean just everybody, just us in
Mhm.
general. We look at it and go, well, I screwed up on that, so I need to step back. Fine, that's cool. Step back, but then we procrastinate because then we're like, well, I've got this decision and I'm going to take my time on this one, and that gets us tired because like we don't know which one to do. You follow?
Mm.
So the
Yes,
procrastination or the fear or the
yes.
judgment of making a wrong decision pushes us
Hmm.
backwards to say,
Hmm.
I'm not going to do that again. And then we're stuck in a decision because we're afraid of the same result. We're making a non-decision in the
Yeah.
present based on a decision that we made in the past, right? Which does have a little
Mm.
bit of bearing, but it also does
Yeah,
not help us move forward. And this is the
yeah,
problem.
yeah.
And then and then and I'm just going to use it in terms of the people that I'm dealing with every single time is we'll go out and we'll ask for more advice, more things. What do you think? What do you think about this? What do you think about that? What does that do? Brings in more
Overwhelm.
choice, right?
Yes,
I don't know what to
yes,
do. What should I do?
yes,
Should I do a funnel? Should I
yes.
not, should I do ads?
Yeah,
What do you
yeah.
think about this? Like, dude,
Dude, I just
right?
I think like I'm thinking right now you saying that so I'll give you an example with technology, right? So we have so many options now available, but I've come to realize that what happened I come to think about what happened to those days where we could just jump into on a call, the conference calls, remember those? It's just a phone number and everybody jumps in. Like why do I need to choose uh, from Ecamm to Zoom to Teams to Google Meet? Like, oh my goodness, can we just like that's a lot of choices, right? And then it also comes down as well. For me, it comes down to the funnels, right? The lead, the opt-in, and then the next funnel to give value, and then the next funnel to call of action, and then next funnel to think. I'm like, can I just send you a letter just saying, hey, this is my program, buy it, and here's the link? I mean, like there's too much, but then there could be too little. So, you know, I think you're catching me onto this conversation very quick because I have made so many decisions and
Yeah,
non-decisions, and I can tell you that it has fatigued me. I am to this point where I'm thinking, I'll just sit around right now. I'll just wait what happens, or you know what? I'm just using my phone. Like that's it. I'm not. Do you have a website? No, I'm not. I don't have a website. Like I'm just whatever, just
yeah,
whatever.
yeah, yeah,
And the last thing I got to tell you about this is that because I'm in that position in this place in my time right now, I'm thinking, where can I go to where I can just tell people, okay, you want to get more of me and more of my time? I'm thinking, just go to WhatsApp. I'll just create a WhatsApp community and that's it. Just go there. There's no platform. There's no sign in, log in, and subscription, and no, just
yeah,
just coming here. I mean, I was to the point where I was thinking, you know what? I have a cell phone number. I have a mobile number. I can create groups of people in my contacts, and communicate through mobile. That you see where I'm going?
Yeah, it's because like even when it comes down to like the business model or what we're doing, this is where I talk about where it wraps around our life. What's easier for us? I'm not saying that we're never adaptable to other people or clients and being considerate of what's happening on their end too. However, there's way too many choices of like, well, I don't use that. I'm only on WhatsApp. Well, I don't want to use WhatsApp. So you know what I mean?
Yep.
There comes a point where like I have to draw the line in the sand for what I'm actually doing, so it's easier for me. Even when I'm hearing someone give me ideas, I become very tired listening to it. Not in a bad way. I'm just like, oh my god, like that's a lot of things you got going on. And I can only imagine what's going on in their head if I'm already
Yeah.
tired listening to the options of I could do this and this and this and this, and I'm like, wow, right? So I'm getting tired, and if they're living with that every day, I can see why they're not moving forward. And this is what I'm really
Mm,
trying to dive into to try
mm,
and understand it from that level because for me, I don't want decisions. Like that's why I love my wife. She makes decisions on, what are we going to eat today? That kind of stuff. Like we have our own things to make the decisions, and we have this
mm.
level. And so when I get caught in something where I don't usually make a decision, I'll get frustrated. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I just, because
Yeah.
I just like simplicity that I know every single day is going to be basically the same, and the less decisions I have to make, the better it is.
Yeah. I wonder. I wonder if this is connected also to because you basically said procrastination, but I'm thinking like, how about like that frustration of control? Like there's no you lose control. Like you have no control almost, and that can be frustrating. For me, it is. I can tell you that. I like to always know, give me the control of what's next, give me the mission and what's next, and I like to. That's for me that I feel in control. But when I have so many overwhelming thoughts and ideas and processes and technology and how to make it work, it just I feel like I'm out of control. Like I just feel overwhelmed.
100%, you're right. Like I feel the same way. That's what I mean is that's part of decision fatigue because you feel out of
Mm,
control, and I get it.
mm,
That's why I personally like making fast decisions. I make a lot of wrong fast decisions.
mhm,
However, it gets it off my plate. Like that didn't
mm.
work. That, and that's a whole other discussion, but the decision is
Yeah,
gone.
yeah,
Right? I
yeah,
don't like to sit in indecision for a long time because that frustrates me even more. So the more I comes at my plate to make decisions about, I get really, really frustrated. And I know
yeah.
I
Look,
can see it.
just like Lorna, I think she's saying the same thing, right? For far too long, she unconsciously waited for
Yeah, so
someone
she's
else to
saying
make that decision,
for
right?
someone else to make exactly right. So that thank you,
Right.
Lorna, for being vulnerable and sharing that.
Yeah.
You're right. Like so when we're outwards looking for other, like that's what I found. And I see it
Hmm.
every single day too in threads and where people will ask for advice, especially on long threads like, "Hey, what do you think of this?" or "Should I do this? Should I do Facebook ads?" Right? And you'll
Hmm.
get like a billion comments like, "Oh my god, like how am I ever going to decide what's right?"
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. Yeah.
so you're
I
asking
think
for advice and then you're getting all these things back and then it makes it worse.
makes it worse. Yeah. That Facebook user, we don't know who you are, but I'm just reading it right now. That's exactly what they're saying too.
Let me
It's
bring it
it's
back up. Let me see
making
what we got here.
the
So,
hardest part. It says you have it, Facebook user.
right here. There we go.
There you go, right there. See, the hardest part about making a decision is deciding to make a
To make
decision, and that in itself is a decision.
It's so true. That's Collie because
But
I
it's
see love and
true,
soul hugs. Yeah, you're
okay,
exactly right, Collie.
right?
So the decision to make
Oh
a
man,
decision is hard because it's a
man,
decision to make the decision on the decision that we need to make the decision on. So,
like yeah, exactly. That's overwhelming, man. That's like, oh,
oh, right.
can I
So it's
get a
so true.
break?
It's so true. Oh my gosh.
I think
Um,
and it also it definitely this to me, and I'm talking about my 'cause
We
again,
can
like I
see you
said,
here,
this
Liz, by the way.
topic. Hey, Liz, but because this topic, I mean, seriously, is like always. I think Joey, every time we talk, there's no coincidence on the the topic. Somehow you read my email or something. I don't know,
Oh yeah.
but but yeah, but it's been a very very a lot of decisions that I've had to make the past 3 or 4 weeks, big ones too,
So
and I'm fatigued, dude. I was like, man, and like I said, that's what I said. It's like some of them like turned out the way I didn't expect. Some turned out the way that I expected, but it was more so than I expected it. In a lesson learned kind of thing. It wasn't negative, but it was a big lesson learned. And then just recently I'm like, that's it, I'm just not making any decisions right now, let me just be. But that's a decision.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like for me, I'm trying to make it the decision graph that I'm
Yeah.
trying to create here is actually to help. The beginning of it is to help people define who their dream client is, like a
Hmm.
whole other level of it. Like here's all these ideas, and I'm trying to come up with this idea where it's okay. Well, what's the top quadrant? Like
Hmm.
Stephen Covey has his urgent, non-urgent, and all that stuff, right? So what's the top quadrant? And to me, and I'd like to know what your thoughts are, and everyone else listening to this, is easy and profitable. Like that would be the quadrant. Like when you're choosing an audience or someone to work with, it's like who's the easiest and most profitable for me to
Hmm.
work with, right? That's the quadrant.
Hmm.
And then
Easy and profitable, okay.
right.
And
So
what's
let
the
me
other one?
let me actually
Because those
draw
are
it out.
only two. Yeah, draw
I
it
know.
out.
Let me draw it out. Like this is I'm just flushing this out.
Put your iPad on the screen.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that. Okay, cool. So here's what I'm thinking. Um, it would be like this, and this up here would be easy. Oops, easy, and this is down is hard, and over here is profitable, right? And this is less profitable.
Oh, okay, okay. Mm.
Okay, so depending on who it is, like, and then let's just look at dream clients or avatars or audiences, whatever you want to call them, and you're like,
Hmm.
okay, here are all my audiences, and that's when you start putting them into this quadrant. So where do they fit?
Hmm.
So it's this person here who, let's say it's, I don't know, I want to do, I don't know, make this up. Let me think. Okay, let me start with, let me do this. So I'll start with the hard one. So for me, I'll just use my example, and maybe we can do for you if you have any audiences that you want to put through this. This
Hmm.
would be coaches, one on who want to do one-on-one coaching.
And you
Okay,
put in that in that quadrant because it's
because
hard
this
and
is this is
profitable.
again this is from my perspective of
Yeah,
how I
yeah.
can help them. Okay, so
Okay.
it's hard for me to help coaches one-on-one, but it is
Hmm.
profitable because they're going to pay high ticket,
Oh,
right? But it's
okay,
hard.
okay.
It's hard for me to do
Hmm.
it because it's hard for me to help them grow because they've only got so much time. Okay. Then
Correct.
if I do less profitable over here and I say hard, it will be, um, let's say coaches with multiple products.
Okay.
With multiple products, you know, product ladder, let's say. Oops, product ladder. The whole
Yeah,
97 to
yeah, yeah,
297,
yeah,
blah, blah, blah,
yeah.
right?
The
They
app
have all
cells and the
these.
back cells, right?
So
The back
that's
ends,
less
right?
profitable for me because
Hmm.
they're not willing to pay, the high ticket over here. Okay.
Hmm.
And it's
Hmm.
hard because I have to help them build all the funnels and all these things.
Oh,
Okay.
okay,
You follow? So it's
okay.
hard
Yeah,
for me.
yeah.
And it's also, I believe it's hard for them, but we're talking about
Hmm.
this for anybody listening to this. This is how you decide. Then there's the other coaches. The coaches who are here, we'll just use coaches, who have a $97 product. That's it. This is
Okay,
easy, but it's less
sure.
profitable,
It's profitable because there's not much volume. So yeah, makes
right?
sense.
So it's for me,
Hmm.
it's like guy is $97. He's like, and I'm like, okay, give me $10,000, and I'll show you how to do this. Like $10,000, like what are you talking about,
Right,
right? So
right,
it's less profitable for
right.
me, and
It's
but it's
profit.
easier for me
Right,
to show them how to do that. So
right.
where do I fit? Who
Hmm.
fits in this quadrant? Well, it's coaches with a group program
Hmm.
of groups 500 or more.
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
see? So this area, these people are the ones that I can help the easiest, and they're the most
Hmm.
profitable. So,
Okay.
so does that
Okay.
make sense now?
Do
All right,
me.
let's go. Okay, so okay,
Yeah,
hang on.
do me because
Does this make
I'm
sense? Is it like
yeah
gelling or what?
I like it, and that's why you have to do me because um I
Okay,
have to be I'm in the right place to for you to try this on maybe to see if it really works, because I do have to say this. You know your audience because you've been working with them for years now.
exactly.
For you to write this down, it looks super easy. Now
It
you're
looks
gonna have to
easy.
work
Yeah,
with me
yeah,
because
you're
with
right. I'm
me
I'm cheating.
I'm still yeah, exactly. I'm still finding out, right? So let's do it together and let's see if it really works.
Okay, go
All
ahead.
right. So let's start with you tell me like what where do I start?
Well, just
What's the
give me an
question?
audience. Just give me an audience, and then we'll just
An
put.
audience.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Tell me who the
Um,
audience is.
okay. Small businesses with a revenue of 100,000 or more who have at least one salesperson.
Okay, actually, let's do this first. Okay. So say it again.
Small businesses,
Mm-hmm.
right? Let's do this. Small businesses with at least one person, one salesperson. Let's not even bother 100,000 because I think I know where this is going to fit later. So
Okay.
let's just say small
See, you're
businesses.
already, dude. You're already getting clear. See.
Yes, yes, yeah.
Okay, so
Okay,
forget this
so
one. Okay, that's
forget
one.
that.
Then
So
two.
small businesses with one, okay, with one team member, one sales member. Number two, uh, wait, number two, what? Oh, what they have,
No, who's the next
or
audience?
who's
Because
the
you have
next one?
four. You
Okay,
have four different choices.
yes,
Okay,
yeah,
great.
yeah. Okay, so small businesses, we want to, okay, uh, a small business solopreneur,
Okay, so no
right?
team.
So no team, a small business, no team.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. A small business with a team member, with a sales team, but no process, no sales process, no sale. Let's be clear, no sales pipeline,
Okay.
right?
Do
No
these guys
sales
have sales pipeline?
process.
Okay, I'll come back to this. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, we'll
Number
come back
four.
to those. And number four, so a medium-sized company, so a medium-sized business, not small, medium-sized business with more than one sales team, so let's just say two or more,
Mm-hmm.
with a sales process, but low conversion rates.
Okay.
Okay.
Right. Now, do these other ones they don't have? Do they have processes or not?
So let me see. The small businesses with a team member. Didn't I say no process? No, no, they do have a sales process. So small
So
business with one team member that do have sales process.
they
The
have a
second one
process.
was the second one is a small business with no team and obviously no sales process.
No
They
process.
don't no process there.
Okay.
Um, the other one was small business with sales team
No process.
but no process. Right, there you
So the
go.
only one who has processes is number one and four.
And number one and four, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So these have processes, and the other ones don't.
Mm-hmm.
So okay. So now, like, dude. So I mean, let me just put this down a little bit here so we can kind of see the whole graph here. So where do you think?
Dude, just oh man, I mean seriously, just doing this, I
Right?
already know what I want.
Okay, cool. So number one, where do you think it goes?
Okay, so definitely number one. Let's see what small business, one team member. Is that a no process or yes process? I
Yeah,
can't
it this
tell.
is
It's
this
too
has a
far.
process. This is actually
It
this
has
is
a process.
plus a process.
I tell you what. Let's start from the fourth one because I
Okay,
can tell
cool.
you right now that's the one right there. It's high.
Right,
It's
that goes here.
profitable.
Right?
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. Number
Right?
four, right there.
Okay, cool.
Definitely. Okay, number three. It was with a sales team and no process. So that one is it has a sales team. So that's easy because it has a sales team, but they have no process. No, no, no. I'm sorry, it's hard. They have no process and they do have a sales team. But what's the top one? I'm trying to
So
decide
this
if
is
that's the
easy. So
one.
easy and less profit. So let me try and guess here.
Okay.
So
Yes.
easy and no process, or easy and less profit would be number two. No, sorry.
No,
Number
number three, I think,
one.
because
No, number one. Let me just
number
play with
what?
this for a second. So number one,
Okay.
and then
hmm
number medium team. So three, no process. This would be number two.
Because there's
Uh,
no process. Okay. No team and no
no, I'm
process.
sorry.
Number two.
Sorry. This is number three,
That's
and this
number
is
three.
number
Yeah.
two.
Number two. Yeah, I think that's better. Yes. Because
Okay.
number two is profitable because obviously if there's no team, and this is no process, right? The I can't tell if that's an X or it does
It's
have a
an X. Yeah.
process.
There's no process. No
It's
process.
not the process,
No
no process.
process.
So yeah,
So there's
that's
so it's hard, and
so it's
it's no
hard.
process. But you can. And the reason. So here's why I'm thinking this, and correct me if I'm
hmm
wrong. I think it's
hmm
number two because there's a small business, there's no team, and there's no process, but they could have like an urgency, right? To get the
hmm
process and to get the team, and they're struggling on their own, so you come in and say I'll save you, and then that's why they're going to pay for the high ticket coaching, right? So there's
That's
more
right.
profitable
That's right.
there.
But it's
And then
super hard.
yeah,
Yes,
and it's
yes.
hard
That's
for you because it's only
really
one
hard
person.
because that's exactly okay. And then less profit and hard. So that means number three, uh, they with a sales team, no process.
Or
Um,
maybe are they reversed? Like which one is harder for you?
yeah.
Number two or three? Which one is harder?
Number
Or could you make
number
more money? So
three.
here's the question. See, this is I'm glad we're
Mhm.
doing this live
Yeah, yeah.
because right. So which one out of two and three can you charge more money for? That's really where the question comes in now because we might have to
Num
switch them.
definitely I can charge more money with number three
Okay, so then that has to
because
go here.
yeah, because number three that tells me that they are already selling, so I can charge more because there's revenue coming in without a process. But the second one, they have no team and no process. That tells me that their revenue is not high enough to charge a lot of money and it's difficult. So, yeah, yeah. So, less profit and it's hard, number two. Number three, hot, profitable, but it's hard. And I like number four actually because that's the
Right,
that
right.
has
Can you
been my
see how this
favorite
is
one.
working?
Yeah, yeah, that's like my favorite one because it's like it's because I've done that. That's exactly what happened at that last project. It's exactly what happened. They had a sales team, they were closing, and they had a process. The only challenge was that they couldn't scale because their process was not very precise. They weren't keeping track of a lot of things. The metrics were off. So that means that I just jump in to improve the process and retrain their team to follow the process, and then that increased their sales revenue. That was to me that was easy and profitable because they were willing to pay a lot.
See? How'd that go, man?
That's pretty cool, man. Okay.
Right? Like within
Okay.
seconds. And I don't know if this is going to
Yeah.
be the final iteration of it because I mean, I'm literally just seconds
I
before
like
we went
that.
live, I just started drawing things out. I'm like, maybe this is it, maybe it's not. But doing this with you, you just defined four, like deciding on which one of those to work on.
hmm
And you
hmm
just decided, in my opinion, like, well,
Yeah.
number four, that's who I'm going to look for.
Yeah.
right? Because the other one,
Yeah.
look, so for anybody listening, and even just for my curiosity, I'm going to go back to the iPad for a second here. Why is number one, in your opinion, easy and less profitable? Because it's a small business with one team member
Yeah.
and a process.
Right. Exactly. It's
Why
got
is
a
it
process, right?
okay? But why is it less
But,
profitable for you?
the number
Yes,
one, right? No, I think that had because it has not a process. That's right. That's the X, no process.
yes, no.
Okay,
Number one is there's a small business
one
with one
team
team member and a process,
in a
and
process.
yeah, we're
Okay,
saying it's
so
easy, but
so
it's less
that's
profitable.
yes, that's easy. That's easy for me because obviously they have a process. The challenge with that is less profitable. That means that there's only one or two things there that I can fix, and that's it. That's all they need. There's not, there's nothing is completely broken. They don't have more than one sales team. That means there's only one person that I need to work with. So that's for me, that's easy because they're doing that
Mm.
process, but I can't charge more than like one person. It's not more. It's not a team. There's no team.
Oh, okay, okay. I see. Okay, so I wasn't even thinking of that, which is cool. I was thinking
Right.
another perspective is that they're less profitable because you can't charge a lot of money because they're in that growth stage. And I know what this is like. Like
Yeah.
when you get to a point where you're like, okay, I gotta hire somebody else. Like your all your money is going to keep that person on, but then you
Hmm.
need help, but you can't afford the help to grow. You follow? So you're kind of stuck
Mm,
between a rock and a hard place. And you're like,
mm,
dude, I really wish I could hire you. And that's
hmm.
and I'm not saying I'm just saying this as if all things are equal, that all your
Yeah.
prices are not changing. You're not going, well,
Yeah.
quadrant one, I'm only charging a
Right.
thousand. Over
Right.
here, I'm charging
Right.
10. No,
Right.
with all pricing being equal,
Yeah.
okay, let's say it's 10,000 bucks. The quadrant
Hmm.
one is like, I'd
Hmm.
love to hire you, but I've already got this employee and we're already not growing fast enough.
Hmm.
And I don't have the extra cash flow to pay you. Along with
Mm.
what you just said, is that does that
Yeah.
land at all or
Um. So I tell you this that to I've dealt with one salesperson. I have done that already, and it was an easy fix because it was just one. And
okay,
there
all
was
right,
and there was a process which is good. However, the it wasn't that profitable for me because it was almost like a coaching session, right?
yeah,
It's
you
like,
fix it and you're
oh,
done.
I
You're up.
fixed it and I'm done.
Got it. Okay.
Where it came down to where there were three sales individuals. Now each one has their own specific way of selling, and then I have to match that with their sales process, and then I have to retrain them to follow along. So
Yeah,
that
yeah.
was a 10-month program, you know,
See, so there we go, man.
because
This
it was more people, there was more to do, right? So
it seems to me that this is working, man. Like there's your decision fatigue
I
gone,
think so. I think
right?
so.
So I mean,
Okay, so let me ask you this, because this a lot of the viewers and a lot of them, I'm sure they're gonna have this question because so I knew that is small businesses, and I knew is sales process, and I also knew sales person or sales team, right? I already knew that. But what happened with somebody who has, because you said this at the beginning of our conversation, who is not, hasn't decided what audience? You know, they have, yeah, I can help this persons, but I can help that person. Like, what if they're not really clear? What if they're thinking they want to help coaches, but maybe consultants, but maybe authors, but maybe solopreneurs, but maybe, you know what I'm saying? Like, how can this fix them, or how can this help them get clearer? Is that possible?
yeah, that's a good question. I don't know if I have the answer because there's
Yeah.
another framework that I'm playing with in my head, and
Uh-huh.
I'll show it to you, which is,
Okay.
and then maybe this is a combination of it or just an adjacent to it. And
Hmm.
so the first idea, let me go back to where's my iPad here. So the decision factor would be like this. Okay. Actually, you know what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna change. I wonder if I could make this landscape. There's got to be a way to do this. View settings. Hang on a minute. Template settings, and change this to. No, this one. There we go.
Hey, there you go. All these decisions.
There you go. Right. So I want too many decisions. There we go. Okay, cool. So this is where the first thought comes from. It's like, okay, here is your audience
Market. Audience A. Okay.
A. Okay. And every audience has a goal. Okay. And I like to call this the dream island, right? Every audience has that. And I'll get into the marketing in a second. So now let's say that you're struggling and you're going, okay, well, this is audience A and you know that this is where they want to go. Then you say, well, there's this other audience, and you're like, and I challenge you, like, okay, who is that audience? And you say, well, it's audience B. I'll just put B, audience B, and they have this other goal. See, you can already see where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
They have this other. This is the goal they want. This is the outcome they want. It's not the same as this one. Okay, so and then you have audience C, and the same thing happens. They have a goal. Okay? So you can see that if you are, this is, you're standing here, and this is today, and you're like, okay, and then you start walking, and you're helping this person here, right? Because this is your marketing. Marketing message, whatever, right? This is your marketing. And you're talking about all this stuff, and you're kind of walking towards helping these people get to this goal. As soon as you start talking to these people, guess what happens? You're not on this path anymore, are you? You're on a different path.
Right. You're in a different path, yeah.
So every audience that you have takes you away from the goal that you originally started out with. So this is where I think that the work has to be done first on who's the audience is, okay, and what are the goals that they want. And the reason I do this is because, again, I'm still flushing this one out too, is because I talk with a lot of people who have different audiences or different avatars or whatever you want to call them. And then one of the questions I ask is, can you market the same way to them, and can you teach them the same thing, right, without changing
That's
a
a
dang
good question.
thing? Right?
Yeah, that's a good
Can you
question.
market and say the same thing and then put them in the same room and teach them the same thing? And do they all want the same goal? If they don't, because the destination is much more important, right, than where they came from or the past. Where people want to go is more important. Okay, so all of these audiences, it doesn't matter about their past, but if they want to go to a different destination, they want a different result, a different goal, then all that's doing is pulling you off of the main path. Let's call this the main path, right? It's pulling you off. And this is where you are already understanding what the main path is, the goal. The goal is they want more sales, right? They want more sales. And it doesn't matter to you because audience B is with a team. Okay, so let me draw this out for you. Okay, let's do this. Audience B for you is with a team. And audience C, let's get rid of this. Audience C is with one team guy, right? One team person. Okay. But the thing is, they all want this. They all want the same thing.
Right.
Is that making sense? They all
Yeah.
want more sales.
Right.
And so now your dilemma is not, do all of these people that I'm thinking about want the same thing? And can I teach them all? So let me ask you this, Eddie,
Hmm.
before I go back to this. If you did have all of those people,
Hmm.
all those audiences, those groups, and you put them into a virtual room, or you said, "Hey, I'm having a seminar," and they all came,
Hmm. Hmm.
could you stand up on stage and teach the same thing?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Nothing would change.
Mm-mm,
It's
nothing.
just
It's the
they're
same thing.
right. You're teaching the exact same
Yeah.
thing. There's one person
Yeah.
goes, "Well, I don't have a team," and like, okay, well, it's still going to apply
Right.
to you. Like, you still got to do
Yeah.
this
It's
stuff, right?
you still
Yeah,
have to do it. Right.
right. So
Right.
that's my point. And for anybody listening to this, this is how I help people understand, like, who do you really want to work with. So when you go
Hmm.
back to this now, your all your teams or all your audiences are the same goal, and that's why for you it's easy to go back to
Mm,
this because you're like,
to that.
okay, well, it all makes sense because all
It's
these people want this sales process, and but these are who they are, and I just have to
yes.
figure out which is the one of them that I want to work with now.
Right. Right. Because they either are missing a person, a team, or a sales process, but they all want the same. The business wants the
Right,
same
right,
sales revenue. So
right.
I can teach the same exact thing to everybody. It just they decide what's next for them. If they
Right.
don't have a process, let's get you a process. If they don't have a salesperson, let's get you a salesperson. But no matter what, you need those specific things to reach that goal.
Yeah,
For
but
me,
even
that's
if
why for me it's easier to just pick somebody who has already a sales team and a sales process because I'm like a doctor. I can't fix if I don't see something that's broken. So if you don't have a sales process, I can't fix it. It's harder for me to do that. Where it is, it's like
but you're
they have
still
a
going to teach a
process,
sales process
but I'm
in
still
every
going
one
to
of
teach
those
the sales process
situations,
in there.
right?
Exactly the
You're
same
either
thing. They
going
all
to
fit.
unpack what they have and say, okay,
Hmm.
here's where we're going to fix it, or you're going to insert it. But you're still
Inserted.
talking about your
Hmm.
sand method, correct?
Yeah, yeah, and you know what? Wow, this is so good, Joey, because it's actually it's actually harder to implement my process. It's easier if they have a process and I fix it.
So
It's
there you
like,
go.
yeah, it's harder for me to convince them that my process will work, where it's so crazy. If they have a process, I actually say, "Oh, let's just switch this," and it becomes my process. But because they already have it, they're like, "Okay, fix it." Oh, it's fixed.
See,
Okay.
so number three,
Hmm.
that's why number three's here because they have no process and it's harder
Hmm.
because you're like, you have to insert this process. And they're like, what are you talking about? So you see,
Yes. Yeah.
you see
Like
how it's fitting in the
like I
quadrants
have
now?
to sell them. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Joey. So, has anyone asked this question yet? Like, I see people watching, but maybe if you're watching the recording, but I have to assume that the reason why this is working very well for me too is because I already kind of worked that out. Like, this is the zone that I want to be in. You just clarify I'm like who I'm going after faster, right? Okay,
Right.
but I'm talking about, okay, so because I'm maybe what 3 years ago, 4 years ago, maybe I was confused. Maybe some people are the same way. I found myself thinking, oh, I'll help the authors who, no, I'm sorry, the speakers who sell on stage. I'll help them. They need a
Mm-hmm.
process, and
Mm-hmm.
they need to sell more. But that was not
You
it.
could. I
You
think that you
know.
could still. Okay. But you see, you're still going to the same goal, or you're still saying
Oh, okay.
these
So
are the people that want to sell more, and they need a process to sell, right? So it's still in my mind is it's if you have the same goal, then you go right to the decision graph. Okay, all these people want
okay,
the
wait.
same goal. Which one is harder for me to work with?
Okay, so what you're telling me is that if I know the island, the what do you call it? The Dream Island?
Dream
What do you call
Island,
it?
Oasis.
Okay, the Oasis. If I know that in my industry there are businesses or people, who want this in this oasis, and I know that that's what they want, and I know I can get it for them, then that makes it easy for me to pick who I'm going to take there and who is willing to go with me there fastest, right? Like,
Right, because yeah, as soon as you start making decisions, and I think that Liz is talking is commenting on this, but
oh, okay.
like as soon as start putting different audiences here, like you start out with this audience, you're like, okay, this is the person I want to help, or these are the people, and then you're like, wait a minute, but there's these other people here. The first question I'm going to ask you if I'm coaching you is, great, well, what do they
Mhm.
want? And you're like, well, these people are different. They want
Mhm.
this goal. Right away, we need to work on this
Oh,
this audience piece first before the graph.
okay.
Because I'm like, okay, you're not clear on
Okay.
who you really want to help yet because they're all over the place. So,
There you go. That's it. That's that.
right?
Okay, that makes sense. What you just said. Okay, so when you hear someone say, "Oh, but these people want this, not that," that's when you start coaching and say, "Okay, we need to get a little bit more clear on who you really want to help, so that you could take them to this oasis." I think Liz. That's what she was saying. Do you want to read what Liz just said?
Yeah.
It's
So
very.
first, I want to go back to Lorna because Lorna,
Oh,
yeah, you're exactly right. There's no through line when you're using the multiple thing. Like, let me go back to the iPad, and I was actually going to steal it because this is Lorna's language. She
okay.
uses her through line thing, but I was actually going to call this marketing message thing like the through line. But that's really what it is. It's the path to the goal, right? It's the through line. What are the marketing
Oh,
messages? What's the
through,
all that stuff?
through line. I
Like,
got
yeah,
you.
there's
I
one
thought you were
through line.
saying thrill line.
No,
I'm like thrill line.
the
What the heck?
through line.
Through
What takes you from
through line.
A to B,
B. Okay.
right? Or
Okay.
A to Z, whatever.
Mhm,
So
mhm,
and the more you mess it up or the more you change, because all like if you have a different goal up here, this person to get to this goal and to talk to them is a different marketing message,
mhm,
right?
mhm.
It's a completely different marketing message. And so
Yeah.
it's shifting you. You're all over the map.
Mhm.
Whereas
Yeah.
like no, I'm going to stick with one marketing message that's going to take
Mhm,
this audience to this
mhm,
goal. That's it.
mhm.
And so
Yeah.
that's where we got to be really clear.
Well,
Okay?
check
So
out Liz.
so Liz
Liz has a
says
really good point.
so Liz says, I'll let you
Liz
read it.
says this is where she says this is where I've been stuck, confusing the goal with the audience. I haven't look hear this out, Joey. I haven't figured out the goal I want to help people with. So it's been impossible to nail down my dream client. So
DNA.
actually,
Does it
she
make
just the DNA, yeah. And she said there's a major breakthrough. Cool, but okay, but that was Liz. Thank you for that, because actually you said it just right, Liz and Joey. This is exactly what I was thinking. Like, okay, so what happened? If you don't know what you're going to help them with, you're kind of looking for that, right? So I guess I started thinking when you were explaining that. I started thinking about this. Remember when I can't remember who said it, but someone said like, "What's the easiest thing that you can do that it's hard for somebody else to do?"
yeah.
And that's what you start with, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
can you start that way?
It's a
I
dream.
mean, right?
I call the dream client trifecta. What's the easiest thing for you to do, but it's harder for everybody else, but they're looking for help doing that thing.
Okay.
But
Yes.
I just want to be clear on the dream client DNA, especially, and even for Liz, maybe this will help you because the dream client DNA, this is where a lot of people struggle. And not only you, Liz, but a lot of people struggle when I teach the DNA because the DNA starts with has nothing to do with the program. So it's about the person, right? And naturally our brain goes
Mhm,
avatar-ish. Here's what I'm going to help them with. Here's the person I can.
mhm,
And I'm saying, forget all that noise, which is very hard because our brain is already programmed. But I'm saying, no, the DNA starts with who's the person that I want to hang out with, right? That's it. Who is the person? What do they look like? What are their moral values, right? That kind of stuff. Who is the person? And then if you get that right, it's like, this is just a person. It doesn't matter what they need, how much money they have, nothing. You get 10 of those people, carbon copies of them, and you get together every single Saturday and doing your thing, you're playing cards, you're whatever, you're having dinners, and the conversations are happening and happening, and you're kind of listening, thinking, and you're listening to the same problems coming up. And you're like,
Mm-hmm.
holy crap, I could help this person because they want this, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm really good at that. That's where the DNA expands out into what we're talking about here. So for Liz, like the DNA, I understand that it's hard, but I think that maybe you're thinking too far in advance of like, well, who's the person and what am I going to help them with? First, figure out who's the person
I
that
have
you
to
want
I
in
have
your
to share
life.
this. I have to share this with Liz because I think this could actually give her a little bit of light. Liz, I experienced that, and everybody else, I experienced what Joey is talking about in regards to who you actually want to be with, hang out with, their character, their values. Just be hang out with them. And here's what happened. I've met people that I thought they had the same values, but I found out the opposite. And I can tell you before that experience, it was easier for me to say, Joey, remember, it's easier for
Yeah,
me to say, I don't want to work with that person, or there's no way I can hang out with this person, or, you know, that's it about that person in my life that I cannot have that around. So it was easier for me to figure out once I went through it. But later on, what happened was I was having more conversations, just Joey, exactly what you're saying, more conversations. And all of a sudden, here comes Brian. He's here local. He's a businessman. He's got now a couple of businesses. And I'm at his house with his wife, my wife, and our kids. We're just hanging out. We're just talking, talking, talking. And all of a sudden, he said something. And this is what he said. And this is where I'm at where I'm at. He said, because he knew what I was doing, and he asked me a question about sales and sales training for his new salesperson at his location. And he said, I had this is what he said, I had to write it myself. I had to write the scripts. I had to write what he had to say. I had to give him something to follow because he didn't feel comfortable. And that was hard. He said, man, Eddie, if I would have thought, you probably would have actually helped me out. And when he said that, I said, oh my goodness, that's it. Yes, I could have done that. And that's where it all started, Joey. So when he said that, he gave me the need of a business person who didn't have time to actually train his salesperson, and he would have paid me to train his salesperson and create the sales process and make sure it follow through. That's where it all started. So Liz, I hope it helps because it didn't happen right away. Okay, I'm talking about, years after years. But when I keep finding out information on who I didn't want to be around, I ended up with the people who I do want to be around. And all of a sudden, they're telling me information that I'm thinking to myself, I can do that. That's like easy. I can do it in my sleep. Like, oh my goodness,
right, right.
right?
Imagine so like, and then for you, Addie, and then just everybody listening, and so even Liz, like, um, imagine Eddie, you were able to actually duplicate him. What was his name again?
Mm.
John?
Brian.
Brian. So Brian's this ultimate dude, and you like him because he's Brian. And then you're like, okay, carbon copy, carbon copy, carbon copy. Now there's 5 Brians that are coming over to your house having dinner. And
Mm.
don't you think that that conversation, one Brian says, here's my problem. I got this team and I blah, blah, blah. The other ones aren't going to say, oh my God, like I exactly know what you're talking about. I'm in the same boat,
The same
right?
boat.
Those
Yes.
just imagine that for a second. I know it's weird, but
That
just imagine there
no,
was
no,
five of
it would
those
be so true.
people with the same thing around your dinner table, and that conversation, the level of the even of the vocal level of audible would be rising because everybody's like, oh my god, right there. And right away you're sitting back going, holy moly, like all of these dudes
Yes.
have this problem that I can do it in my sleep. That's what I'm
Yeah.
talking about. That's where the
Yeah.
gold happens. For you, it was one
Mhm.
person.
Yeah.
And for me, it's like when I'm telling people, just bring people into a Facebook group or whatever.
Mhm.
Go to more conventions or something and sit beside a couple people. And when you meet somebody who's in your, oh, you're from Jacksonville too? Holy crap! All of a sudden, you're best friends, right?
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
you meet them in San Diego. You're like, what? You're
Yeah.
from You don't even know them
Yeah.
from a hole in the ground, but all of a sudden you're
Yeah.
best
Right.
friends because you're from the same place, the same thing.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
where the DNA begins.
Uh-huh. That's
And that's what
good.
you did, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and so and to make sure anyone can do this, because obviously for me it happens easier when I'm physically involved
Right.
with people. For you, it's really happening in the groups because
Right.
you are showing up, stepping up, showing up, and people are seeing you, watching you. And all these years is like that's it. You're a magnet. You don't even have to ask. It's like I got to talk to Joey. So, but both worlds, the same principle, it works.
Yeah, it starts with, you know, we who the person is first. Like that's
Mhm.
it. So if you're deciding on if you're deciding on a program where the decision fatigue is coming in, like I don't know what to do, what to help, what the program looks like, that's where the end of it is. There's a lot of decision because the other pieces aren't in place, right? The other pieces aren't like the who is not there. Like I don't know who to help or who I want in my life, but I'm trying to make a decision on what's the thing that I sell. And that's huge decisions because you can go to anybody and say, what should I create? What should I do? A membership?
Mhm.
Should I do coaching? Should I do Facebook ads? Should I do? And they're like, well, and then everybody's got their own opinion, and everybody's right because it works for them.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
you haven't decided on the other pieces of the puzzle, which is who do you
Mhm.
want in your life, and then what kind of business model do you want? Do you like you just said it, Eddie? You just said,
Mhm.
for you, Joey, you like going into groups and being digital. I like to be out in the public and actually shaking hands and hugging. Fantastic. Like
Yeah,
that's the thing for you,
you make those decisions, right?
right? That's what it looks like for
Yeah.
you. For me, I'm like, no, dude, you got it's a rocket ship to get me out of the house to go to like, right?
Like I'll never forget, Joey, when you picked me up at the airport, dude. You got lost. I'm like, what the heck?
I get
Oh
lost in my own city from the airport. I don't even know how to get back to my house.
my god, that was funny, man.
So
That's
Collie
gold,
says,
solid gold.
I'll let you read it, Eddie.
Oh, who's this? I don't know. Facebook user. Who's that?
This is Collie.
Oh, oh, that's gold, solid gold. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you, because I'm doing this without even thinking about it. Having to make a decision to start because I already have. Thanks to you, Joey.
You're
Oh,
welcome.
that's awesome. Love. I guess that's how you know, huh? Love
Yeah,
and
love
soul
and soul
hugs.
hugs is her tagline, it's her
That's her
signature
tagline.
phrase, and
Oh, that's
yeah, so
awesome.
which is cool, right? I mean, that's
That's
another whole
great.
branding thing right there. Like if
Yeah,
if
for
you're the one
sure.
who says this all the time and you don't even have a face to the name, you
Copyright
know who
it.
it is,
Copyright.
right?
Trademark or copyright. Which one is it?
Trademark it.
Trademark or copy? Trademark it. There you go.
Yeah, 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 for sure. Well, dude, like
Those
this
are
has been an
hats and
amazing
those are
conversation.
t-shirts. I love it, man. No, it's been great. I think if anything, I'm taking away. I'm taking away a lot of things. I really like the what do you call it?
I'm just calling it the decision graph right now, but
The dishing. Okay, whatever you're gonna call it. I'm sure you're gonna come
like,
up with some genius. You always come up with some genius
well,
names. But yeah, that graph, I think that's really, really cool.
thank you.
It's very simple, and you got me excited about it, and you got me to see, oh yeah, for sure, number four. Those are the I rather do that. So that's really cool. So everybody hopefully took some notes, and I guess they'll connect with you to talk more about it. And then the other thing is, I guess if anything, simplifying decisions, or at
Hmm.
least learning from the decisions in the past. And I like what you said. It's very interesting. You said first, you said, it's not about jumping and creating the parachute as you're going down, but you also mentioned that you like to make fast decisions, and many times they're wrong decisions or learning lesson decisions. And I think what happens is you're right. When I start thinking a lot about what to decide, I don't make the decision. I don't do the decision. So I'm gonna take that to heart. To if I have something and if it makes sense at that moment, just decide do, without anyone being hurt or without anyone lacking. It's just really as my heart, I'm a heart center like you. As long as it helps others and it helps me at the same time, then I may make those decisions. But Yeah, you just taught me that. It's just maybe I'm overthinking it. I think a lot of people overthink it. Do you
We do.
overthink,
Even
Joey?
I do. Like, dude,
Okay, you
I
do.
get into this situation all the time. And, we
Okay.
were just talking beforehand that, my another releasing, not stress. I don't have a lot of stress, but just unplugging and I play my little Spider-Man 2
Oh,
game
oh, the
now.
game. Yeah,
I'm so into it, right? But
yeah.
as you were talking, and we're talking about building the thing on the way down, the parachute, this analogy came to me. I don't know how. This is just let me get this out. So let's use first. I'll use the parachute analogy. Let's say that you build you jump and you build a parachute. You're building the parachute on the way down, and you crash and you die. Like that's it. But it's like a video game. This is where this came to
Mm.
me, and
Oh,
I'll come to
oh, okay.
Spider-Man in a second. So
Yeah.
you die and you're like, damn. And then you go to the back and you jump again, and you start building the parachute
Mm.
on the way down. If you start building the parachute the same way, you're gonna die again. Like right. So it's not
Right.
that you don't jump and build the parachute again, but you do it a
Yeah.
different way. You
Yes.
could still slam to the ground and die. Be like, okay, that didn't work, right? So you're still jumping and you're
Mm.
building the parachute on the. And the reason
Right.
that came to me while you were talking, like I go, you know what? That's how I play video games. I don't know about you, but me, when I play any combat video games like Spider-Man's all fighting,
Mm.
like I don't I don't think a lot. I don't like, okay, what's the strategy I'm gonna go in there and I just
Mhm.
go into the
You
battle and
just
I like bam,
go.
bam, 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 right? And then I die and it doesn't work. I'm like, okay. And then you respawn and you come back and you're like, and I go do the exact same thing
Mm.
again. I keep getting killed and I get angry. I'm like, damn, this game's so hard.
Yeah.
I'm getting angry at myself, right? So
Yes.
I'm thinking like, okay, well, why am I doing the same thing? Like
The same thing.
I'm
Yes.
gonna get killed
Yes.
again. So I still go right into the
Mm.
battle, and more than likely I'm gonna get
Mm.
killed. The game's gonna kill me,
Yeah.
but I'm not doing same thing. And
Right.
eventually, I still go
Mm.
into the decision quickly, and I make the right decisions, and then I go to the next level.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Right?
mean, I guess
I don't know if that's a good.
that connects. No, no, but that's right. This is why you got me thinking about those two things. But in actuality, if you really think about it, it's the same thing. Making fast decisions, right? But also learning from those decisions. So the next time you
Right,
have there is a mechanism in our body, in our system, in our brain that because you make
right.
fast decisions, you've learned, but you're still making fast decisions with what you've learned.
Yeah, so there's no more decision fatigue. It's still
There's no more decision
okay.
fatigue,
I
right?
want to go there, and you make the decision to go, and then all of a sudden you get slammed in the face. You like hit your head, like okay, well, what should I do tomorrow? And then you're like, well, I'm gonna. That's where I want to go. So I'm deciding to go do this again tomorrow. But I'm not gonna do what I did yesterday. That's all,
Right,
right? So
right.
you're just going.
Exactly.
Because you're still. But if you sit back and you go, oh, well, yesterday wasn't a good day. I'm not gonna. I
Or
don't know what I'm gonna do. I got all these other things I can do now.
there you go. There you go. And then you start thinking and you start thinking yourself out of it, right? Because you start thinking that. Yeah. Okay, cool.
So what
Cool.
I've been, because I was just I was looking at Lorna's next comment. But anyway, what I've been
Oh,
learning,
the Spider-Man.
yeah, what I've been learning that it's better to make the decision and get into action. 100%. That's what I believe. That's the only way we know if it's a right decision. Yes. How are you going to know if you don't do it?
Yeah.
And we always get feedback to help us to keep moving forward. 100%. I love the way you penned that. And yes, I couldn't just leave Spider-Man out of it. It's Spider-Man 2, by the way. Okay, so anybody listening to this and who knows any games, there's a difference between 1 and 2. Okay.
Wait, wait, wait. And knowing you, Joey, you're definitely the Spider-Man because
I'm a fan.
didn't you tell me or didn't I can't remember, but something to do with Spider-Man, the way he does this actually means love.
Not that wasn't me. I didn't know that.
Oh, you didn't know that?
I didn't know
Oh,
that.
dude, my girl is learning sign language, right? And so she basically
Oh,
says that
okay. Wow.
this, I love you, right here. I love
No
you.
way.
Wait. And so I told her, wait a minute. Spider-Man does that, right?
That is
So
so cool.
he's the friendly guy that loves people, man.
What? You know what? Like, dude, like now I got to look it up because
Yeah, look it
in
up.
this
Look it
game, now
up.
we're talking about games, but in this game, there's like it's a story. It's kind of like a movie. You're walking through the
Yeah,
movie and you're playing as
yeah,
long. Anyway, there's
yeah.
pieces of it where you're just sitting back and watching like what's going on in the story, and there's this part where one person is deaf and they're talking to that deaf person. They're doing sign language and all the ACL. I go wow. So
Okay.
ASL, ASL, adult sign
Okay.
language, right? So
Okay.
maybe there's something
Look
to it,
look it
man.
up. Look it up.
Maybe
I'm
there's something
telling
to it.
you. Look it up. There you go. See? Hey, Lorna appreciates we're teaching her about Spider-Man. That's great, man.
Yeah, now she's gonna go out and buy it. And we can battle together.
Ah,
But I mean, doesn't that make sense, bro? Like, I mean, you're still
no.
making quick decisions,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
you're still building things on the way down. You still don't know
Yeah.
if the
It's the
parachute's gonna
same.
open or not. You're just like, whatever. I still
Yeah.
want to fly. Like
Yeah.
that's the goal.
Right. It's like it also reminds me of a roller coaster. When I first go into it, I'm a little, whew, how's this gonna feel? And I go through it, my heart rate is pumping, but then I'm like, let's do it again because I know if I don't go right away, I'm gonna rethink the whole process and feel like, oh, maybe I need a break. And then before you know it, my energy just does. I just don't want to do it. So
Yeah,
it
man.
just I just go because I just want to do it. Just get it done with. Get it done with. So
Yeah,
it reminds me of that too. So yeah, man,
very cool.
you're exercising your decision making process without making any stops, without doubting, and just
Yeah,
go.
removing the decisions is going to make everything easier. And even if we're not just talking about business, you know,
Yeah,
um, it's like even in everyday life, if we bring this back full circle to this, is the most like setting up routines, whether it's coming home and putting your car keys in the same place,
yeah,
right? Because if you don't, then you're going to lose them. Like, where would I put my car keys? And, or even, where should I put these today so that I don't forget tomorrow? You know what I'm saying?
hmm,
But if you have
hmm,
like, no, they always go over here. This is what it is. And so that's a decision tomorrow morning where you don't have to go, where did I leave my car keys?
yeah.
You're remembering, you're trying to decide.
Yeah, I will leave people with this, man, and actually, I think because I haven't done it, that's probably because of the past 4 weeks I haven't done it. That's why I felt like that. Um, Taking a break, like take a mental break, let my brain rest, and I have not done meditation, dude. I
Mm.
just realized that for the past 4 or 5 weeks, I have missed out on doing that. So yeah, okay, thanks, Joey.
Yeah, you're welcome. Clear the head, man. Clear the head.
So I guess last for people to know if you're having difficulty or if you feel overwhelmed and you may have a lot of decisions or indecisive or whatever that's going on. Highly recommend take meditation. It only takes 15 minutes. Get a guided meditation from somewhere like brain.fm or anywhere else, or just whatever. But yeah, disconnect for those 15 minutes consistently, daily, whenever it works for you, and that should work. So that's my recommendation for peeps.
There's some final love for you there, Eddie. Very, very cool.
Oh, go back to what your soul is calling you to do, Eddie. Yes, I will. Oh my
Any final
goodness.
thoughts, or was that your final thought for today?
That was my final thought. You just made me think of that. That's, if anything, if you are going through some decision, what do you call it? Decision fatigue.
Decision fatigue.
Not only all the things that you could do and all the graphs that you just showed me, but simplifying things and noticing what I didn't do. I guess everybody needs to hear that. So yeah, take time, take breaks, leave your brain, give your brain a break, and you can do that with meditation.
100%, man.
Yeah,
That'll definitely help you with decision fatigue too, because even
yeah,
sometimes where I have decision fatigue, if I'm not
hmm,
gonna go down and smash people through with Spider-Man, is I'm gonna I'm gonna go and take a break and just unplug and just like,
yeah,
it'll come back to me
yeah,
later, right? So yeah, you're right.
yeah,
You're
for
absolutely
sure.
right. That, Eddie,
Cool, man.
thank you for an
Thank you, man.
amazing conversation again today.
Yeah.
It's always fun having this conversation with you, and we don't see each other on this until when did we see each other? I think it's in
I don't
January.
know.
I think it's coming up. The next one is January with us.
Woohoo!
Yeah. So the
2024, baby.
26th. So we got one more, and then the 26th. Actually, the next. This is the only time actually in the time I've been doing this that I'm actually going to take a break on on the Tuesday night, which is the 26th of December, which is a
Cool.
Boxing night or like day after Christmas, and then I'll be
Nice.
back on the second. I'm pretty
Nice.
positive I'm going to do that. So it'll be the only time I
Nice.
take off that 1 week. But anyway,
Cool.
We don't see you
Re-
till January, and if I don't see you or don't speak to you, which I'm pretty sure I will,
yeah,
but
I think
for
you are.
for the sake of this
For
recording and
yeah,
this live,
yeah,
I just want
yeah.
to wish you and your family the very best for the holiday season, man.
Oh, thank
Um,
you, man. Merry Christmas to you. Happy New Year. Love you, man. Love your family. You guys are awesome.
Back at you.
Thanks, man.
Everyone else, thank you for being here. Thank you for being here live. Hashtag live if you're with us live. Hashtag replay if you're watching the replay. And just for the sake of it, I didn't do this all night long. I'm going to put in the Facebook group. Just if you want to join us there, Heart Center people over there. We are in there every day helping each other out. It's a great community. If you are a Heart Center person, consider joining us. There's not any kind of pitches and anything like that. If you're used to those kind of groups, that's not what this is all about. Liz, thank you. Good advice about meditation. I've fallen off the wagon. Hey, that's cool. The wagon is always there to jump right back on. Even 5 to 10 minutes of meditation, good for beginners or when the time is short. 100%. Thank you very much. We'll see you next week.